So let's move on to the last team here in the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was a tale of two seasons for them. Let's just be flat and honest. They started out the season 11-0, finished the season 1-4 with a first round loss to the Cleveland Browns at home. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have an aging quarterback that is coming off I believe it was Tommy John surgery is what he had right last year or two years ago, I should say, but it was some type of elbow surgery that he had. I can't remember, but they basically needed to nail this draft to be relevant. I think here in the AFC North. Wyatt, who was their best draft pick?
Look no further than Najee Harris, a guy who's going to be a big impact day one. A guy who is going to mesh with Benny Snell, I feel like, very well. You're going to see Najee Harris come in and run the ball a couple of times, and he's going to catch a couple of passes. Then Benny Snell is going to come in and cram it right down your throat and gain a bunch of yardage. This dual running attack is going to be great. It's going to be much better than what James Conner could do last year, considering that he did absolutely nothing. I am so miserably upset that I actually traded for him in fantasy, which was a horrible, horrible mistake. But I will be going after Najee Harris in fantasy because he's a pass-catching running back. He's got great route running. You can literally put him in the slot, and he will succeed as a slot wide receiver. He can run the ball. I mean, we've all seen the hurdle against Notre Dame. The guy's a freak athlete. He does things that other people can't. And in my opinion, he is the best running back out of this draft and a day one impact guy for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So their first rounder, Najee Harris, was the best pick for them for me.
So why you were on the show when we talked about Vanilla Wafer leaving the Steelers and going to the Baltimore Ravens and saying that they pass like 80% of the time. So how can a running back be the best pick when they're going to pass the ball 80 to 90% of the time anyways?
I think they're going to kind of try and level it out this year, actually, a little more. And also, so I think they're, first off, let me start with this. I think they're going to level out the passing attack this year and go with a little more running. But also, I think that the passing attack, the strong passing attack that the Pittsburgh Steelers have, benefits Najee Harris because he's a pass-catching running back. I think there's a reason why they went after him and not Williams from, say, North Carolina in the second round. I think there's a reason why we saw them go after Najee Harris right there, because running back was a bigger need they have, and this guy fits their system. He can go out and catch some passes for you if you need. He can go out and he can run the ball for you if you need. He can pass block. He really does everything. Like I said, he's the best running back in this draft, and I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers benefit in every way in their passing and rushing game with this addition. He might even be a returner. Who knows? We'll find out shortly. But like I said, a day one impact starter for me.
Interesting. Tori, what about you?
So I have best picks. So I'm going with Kendrick Green and Dan Moore Jr. So they're third and their fourth round pick. So Kendrick Green can step in day one, start at center, or he can play guard. You got Dan Moore, who's going to come in and play tackle. This is an aging offensive line. You know, you started to see they let, as Buck says, Vanilla Wafer go this offseason. Vanilla Wafer. Alejandro Villanueva will forever be known as Vanilla Wafer.
Vanilla Wafer. I love it.
But those are probably the two best picks. They made two really good picks. Like I said, they went with the guy that can play center or guard. You know, they got Dan Moore, who's a fourth round pick, but is a day one starter at tackle, in my opinion. So I actually really like those picks because we've talked about it before. It all starts up front. You know, eventually Ben's going to be gone, but why not give him just a little bit more protection right now? Try to make that one final run and that one final push to another Super Bowl, and then you're still set up for the future. They picked up Dwayne Haskins, and I think actually him being in Pittsburgh for the maturity level will actually be really good for him.
One key term that you said there is they had two really good picks. Was the rest of their picks bad then, Tori?
Well, the first round pick was bad. I am not a Najee Harris, but the thing is here's the thing. I'm going to quantify this by saying I do not think Najee Harris will be good this year. I think his second or his third year, he's going to go the King Henry route, where it's just going to be like,
I could see that.
Is this going to be a bust or not? And then, what was it? It was the King Henry's third year. He just annihilated everybody, busted onto the scene. And I think Najee Harris is almost going to take the same route.
So, bada bing, bada boom, year 3, it is going to be King Najee. So, who is the worst pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers then?
Najee Harris right now,
Najee Harris.
just because this year I don't think he's going to be as great as everybody thinks he will be this year because they are rebuilding that offensive line, and so that I have to have a feeling that plays a lot into it.
All right, so let's kick it over to Wyatt. Wyatt, who was their worst draft pick in the 2021 draft?
Yeah, I think Pat Freiermuth. First off, there's no need for a tight end for this team. You've already got Vance McDonald sitting behind Eric Ebron there. You've got a decent little tight end crew, and to add Freiermuth, who's not even a pass catcher, he's a blocking tight end. I didn't really see the point in that. If you're gonna add depth for tight end, you go with pass catchers, and I mean, I think Freiermuth's going to be a decent tight end. He's a guy that's going to be like a Mercedes Lewis that the Packers have, where you just kind of throw him in on run plays, and he blocks very well, but he can also catch a couple of passes. But I didn't really understand the pick. I didn't think tight end was their biggest need. At the same time, this guy literally cannot catch a ball to save his life. He is a blocking tight end. Now, you can learn to catch. You can work on it over time, but I don't know. I think after a certain point...
Think about what I just said, though, Wyatt. They're rebuilding that offensive line. So in that retrospect, I can see why they took a blocking tight end in the second round.
Yeah, but I just don't think he'll get time. Eric Ebron's a clear-cut starter there.
Right, but he's a receiving tight end. He's not much of a blocking tight end. So if you're going to try to rebuild your line to give your quarterback a little bit more time or try to open up a little bit more of a hole, you're going to want that blocking tight end in there. And because I agree with you, I'm not a fan of that pick either. But the more I talked about it, I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about this, and now that pick makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he can definitely benefit.
Played a lot of max protect.
Yeah, I mean, he can definitely benefit, and that's why I'm not really going to give the Steelers that bad of a rating. But he can definitely benefit the offense, but I don't know. I feel like this guy is going to be a third stringer, and I feel like the pick is going to be used for absolutely nothing. But we'll see. We'll see. I could be totally wrong, and Friarmuth could be a week 1 starter, and he can come in and block for him. The problem they're going to run into, though, if they're switching Ebron and Friarmuth, is if you see, okay, Vance McDonald retired. Okay, if you see Friarmuth come on the field, then you know it's a run play, or most likely a run play. Defenses will pick up on that. And if you see Ebron come out, you know it's most likely a pass play. So defenses are going to pick up on that. That's the only worry I have about them doing that is having a clear-cut receiving tight end and a clear-cut blocking tight end. Because once again, Freiermuth cannot catch a ball.
Just because he's blocking doesn't mean it's a run play. He can pass block too.
Well, I know, but you don't bring on you don't bring on a tight end to block on a pass play. That's very rare. I mean, you can do it, but you don't see it very much. Most of the time, your tight ends are out there on passing plays to be some kind of a check down or a post, something to get yardage.
No, they're out there usually to block if your offensive line isn't that great. They're out there. They're kind of, it's like I said, they're almost a match protect person.
So Jameson says that tight end is referred to as Baby Gronk. So we will always see, as time will tell, through the 2021 season. But Wyatt, you've been hitting at this B- all night. Is this time where you drop that B-?
I dropped the B- on the Bengals.
Okay.
This right here, though, I'm not dropping a B-. I'm dropping a B+. It was a pretty solid draft, I'd say, overall. Like I said, wasn't a big fan of Freiermuth, the tight end out of Penn State with the second-round pick, so I did give him a deduction on that. But other than that, all around, it was a good draft. I like the pick of Najee Harris, like I talked about earlier. And once again, Freiermuth will absolutely make it. I think he will make an impact for this team. Do I think it'll be a huge impact or an impact that a second-rounder should make? No, I don't think so. So, like I said, I give him a B+. It was a good draft. It was a very good draft.
So, Tori, are you going to drop the D on the Steelers?
No, they get just a B- for me. So it's like I said, I'm not a fan of the Najee Harris pick this year. I think eventually, yes, he becomes the running back that we all think he is.
Isn't that the story of all Alabama running backs, though, if you think about it?
Well, except for Eddie Lacy, who started off hot and then ate his way out of the league.
That's true. But like you think about, like Mark Ingram was slow at the beginning. He was good, but then he popped off there at the end. Derrick Henry slow, then pops off. Now, I mean, hey, I think you could be right. Absolutely, Najee Harris could be slow and then pop off in the end.